YouTube, how's it going? Today I thought I'd show a little bit more of an informative video. We're going to be talking about lionfish just because this is one of the biggest topics I get a lot of people that come in and ask me about and then end up leaving the store and having bad luck themselves keeping their own lionfish. So whether or not it's sensitivity to water changes or sensitivity to water quality or other fish inside the tank picking on the lionfish eating other fish in the aquarium, many of those lionfish don't last more than a few months after they've left the store, and that's after 7 years of retail working with 3 different locations as far as pet shops go. It's just a pretty common thing to be able to see, and most of the time when you are looking for videos, it's all about how invasive they are in the Caribbean and how they're ambush predators, and that's it. You don't really have any kind of details about how to take care of them, which one's going to get big, which one's going to get small, or for the fact that they're not that scary. It's just more of a passive aggressive looking kind of fish that's just looking for a meal to stick in his mouth. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it and start looking at some lionfish. So lionfish come in all sorts of different sizes and shapes and color variations, even within their own species. There's not really much that's discussed on the internet, as far as I can see, by YouTube about the different varieties that there are presented to people, I guess, in the aquarium trade, aquarium hobby, to be able to keep in their own tank, and which sizes really work out the best to be able to have in their own aquarium or species in general. Most people look at lionfish as the big aggressive ambush predator, as they obviously are showing to do a very good job out in the Caribbean, per the Volodin and the Miles lionfish. And through this Russell's, you can see how they really go after whatever they can fit in their mouth. Now, it's not necessarily a highly aggressive fish that's just going to terrorize you. They are more of a passive, less aggressive kind of animal. They just want to be left alone, and if they see something that stands out as flashy or interesting, they go after it. So it's easy to house lions with other fish that are bigger than their mouth and not have to worry about them being eaten. It's hard trying to get the lionfish to be able to stay inside of your setup and not have other fish go after them. The Russell's lionfish being one of the larger of the species to be able to choose from that are right now available in the aquarium trade, very similar to that of the Volodin lionfish, which you always see, and this is an invasive species currently right now in the Caribbean. However, there are smaller options to be able to look at. For example, you have like the 6 to 8 inch range being the Entonada lionfish, which is also among, I want to say, about 2 or 3 other species that stay within that same range. You've got the Radiata lion, which is a little bit more complicated to be able to work with, but also only maxes at that 8 inch range. You also have the Mombasa lionfish, which is going to stick right around the same range as the Entonada and the Radiata, so that way you're not dealing with the tank busters. And even smaller than that, you get to work with the dwarf zebra, or the dwarf lions in general. You have the dwarf zebra, which is presented here. You also have the dwarf fuzzy lion and the Fu Manchu lion, and if you dig a little bit deeper, you also get the red-eye Hawaiian lionfish, which all max at about 5 to 6 inches, the Fu Manchu staying a little bit smaller. Unfortunately, housing lions together can get you in trouble. You do notice that they show very good displays against each other when they have any kind of close contact. Here in the actual clip, you can see that the gill flaring, the body shaking side to side. You notice the dorsal fins will go in kind of a wave pattern. These fish are more aggressive towards one another because they are obviously competing for similar food sources. The little guy versus the Entonada, it's not too much of a worry, but even still, you can definitely notice any kind of sores on the body as far as close contact goes. The lions will go right after each other. You got to watch out for missing fins. That can cause infection because these fish are very prone to different kind of bacterial and fungal infections, so it's not always the easiest to be able to get a lion to recover after a bad, I suppose, battling out kind of session inside of your aquarium. So you definitely want to watch out for others picking at their fins, like angelfish. They also like to be able to go for stuff that's a little bit too big for their mouth. It's not always an animal that's just going to eat everything in your aquarium. It has to be bigger than its mouth, and even that little goldfish is still too big of a competition for this dwarf. One technique I wasn't able to catch on camera in any of this slow-mo, which I was hoping, but sometimes the lionfish will actually go up to the prey item and they puff out a little bit of water to kind of put that item into a trance almost while they make their final kill. And even in this Volodin, as you see, he didn't even take a split second to be able to pause to do any of that. Once they get more excited to go after their prey items, that natural technique kind of kicks out, but then again, he's also in a box. Where's that animal going to go? So it's not really much time to be able to waste just to get that food from point A to point B inside of the lionfish. Even before it gets to the mouth of the lion, it's already inside of the mouth of the lion. The lionfish uses the suction to be able to pull it on in, as well as any of the other ambush predators, such as large scorpion fish. You can see the dwarf fuzzy suck the shrimp out of the rockwork. Nope, dwarf zebra, my bad. Pulls it right out of the rockwork. It's probably sitting about an inch and a half away from his face, and he still sucked it through the crevice just because he couldn't reach it. They do have a huge respect in my book for the amount of, I guess, suction they have or vacuum that they create when they're attacking their prey. Doesn't even have to worry about getting too close. It can be a little bit of a far distance, but the combo of the dart forward with the inhale and that prey item almost has no chance of getting away. One fish you want to keep in mind not to house with lionfish are triggers. People like to be able to stick triggerfish with their lions because it's a big aggressive fish with a big aggressive fish. However, triggerfish love to be able to eat the fins off these lionfish, and as I said before, very prone to bacterial and fungal infections, and that's why. If you get chewed on, those fins are going to flare up bright red, and trying to be able to recover that lionfish back from that attack is nearly impossible. I've seen it a couple times and I've worked with it a couple times, but it never goes well. Even dwarf angels or large angels like to pick at lionfish because the fins look at something similar to what they'd be feeding on the reef as far as macroalgae, corals, and whatnot go. The fins look no different to an angel, so they're going to give it a shot and pick at it. So you really want to watch out for pickers and chewers when placing them with lions, even though it's seen as this big aggressive ambush predator. That's all I got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the informative video on lionfish and all the slow-mo feeding clips. If you guys have any other questions, post them on down below. Like, comments, and subscribe as always. If there are any other future references for videos, let me know if you want me to be able to do something specific. I can see what I can do. I will say goldfish and ghost shrimp are not the top-notch feeding choice to be able to give your lionfish. I just did it in this video to be able to make sure I showed all the actions that the lionfish do present when they're going after live prey items, but they will be all transferred over to frozen foods, as I've done plenty of times in the past. Hopefully it all goes pretty well, but silver sides, brine shrimp, and myces definitely a lot healthier option to be able to stick with than any kind of live goldfish. Just isn't a healthy food source. So, and finally, as always, take a look at my Instagram page, The Fish Guide 12, the same as my YouTube account, The Fish Guide 12. I have new photos of the lions and all the other aquarium stuff posted on a regular basis, pretty much once a day, if not every other day. So stop on over, check that out. Otherwise, for now, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.